Welcome to the Facerocker Podcast number 70. This week we cover stories of true crime, of criminals, of daring feats of crime and stuff like that. We talk a little bit about Joseph Kahn's amazing Power Rangers short, which dropped this week to much fanfare and internet applause all over the place. We get into that a little bit. Overall, very fun, good podcast. I don't need to tell you about this. You're here. You're going to listen to it. It's going to start like now.
You're like, hey, there's a panel about this thing, and I'm not gonna tell Matt about it.
Yeah, they're supposed to push through the FCC ruling for net.
I didn't know about this. This was the favor that Jordan asked for. I didn't look at the example for it. I don't know about this shit.
Matt, man, it's okay. It's nice and cool in Freddy's shadow. Don't get the blaring sun.
Yo, you don't got the glare of that spotlight. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Here we go.
I'm coming. And you're introducing me to Harmon.
I won't know.
That panel's just you and Harmon.
Really?
Yeah.
Welcome to yet another Facerocker Podcast.
I'm coming.
I've just learned, my compatriot Matt Arnold, sitting to my right, has just informed me that I'm going to be on a panel with Dan Harmon.
Yeah.
And just Dan Harmon? That's it?
Yep.
Man,
I don't like... See,
that's intimidating.
I don't mind. I like this partnership.
Right?
See, I don't like being in the spotlight. I like not being known. Like, I really do. Like, I actually feel bad for Freddie most of the time, but occasionally the way this works out pisses me off. Where he's on... It's just a matter of a panel of Dan. He's just on a panel of Dan
about this.
And the thing is, I don't want to be on that panel. That would be too nervous. I don't want to be up there. I just make it...
You sort of be up there with Dan.
Just make sure I'm coming along with you. I don't care if you're going to be like, hey, this is my servant. Like, bring me in. It's like I gotta talk to Dan Harmon.
Dan
afterwards.
Harmon, creator, showrunner of Community.
Dan, this is my valet.
Harmontown.
One of my personal heroes.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah, easily one of Matt's personal heroes.
Yeah.
We are joined today by the Dolly brothers, Des and Benji Dolly.
The two of us.
Two things I'd like to quickly apologize for on the podcast. Number one, last week,
starting off strong.
I feel I gotta load off my chest. One, someone's phone was emailing all last podcast, and I was super annoyed. I heard it. So everybody, turn your phones to silent.
Mine's
right
off.
Now.
It's either me or Freddie.
It's one of us. So apologies to our listeners having to hear.
I know Freddie thinks
email
it's
notifications.
me.
And I know Matt thinks it's me.
Freddie refuses to believe
100%.
he's capable of making that kind of mistake.
Well, because I don't have the.
See, there it is. Yeah,
I don't have email messages.
But we were just talking
Let me ask
about
this:
it.
do you use Apple Mail?
Huh?
Do you use Apple Mail or do you use Gmail as an app?
He's just normal Apple Mail.
All right, well, that was you. Because the notification sound was the Apple Mail notification.
You know what though?
sound.
But Freddie gets like 1,000 emails.
That's true.
And like I get one email a day from like Benji.
It's
Bed
me.
Bath & Beyond.
Podcast at 10.
You know what, guys, I'm feeling a little left out here. Will someone blame me for leaving my phone?
because it was on during the ad read.
It's on during the ad read.
That's
That's the only
just
reason
how
we
we
know.
know.
You were there.
All right, fine.
You've been eliminated.
You know what? Fuck it, it's my fault. I apologize. I profusely apologize for my phone, and I can't believe none of us noticed it.
I was surprised, but we all got the cans on in here. And,
right.
well, anyway, and number two, I like to apologize for erroneously pointing out, and Matt, I think you bear a little bit of blame for this. In the opening, I stated very confidently that the number 69 was the product of 13 and 3.
But yeah, how's any of that my fault?
I'm surprised you didn't catch that.
Okay, but that has nothing to do with me. That is you saying
He's
that.
mad at you for not catching
I'm
his
surprised.
improper math.
I'm just saying,
Where
when you
were
hear
you?
numbers, where were you, man? I look like an idiot. I look like a fool.
I tune out half the time. I'm not aware
It's
of
not
what
here
you say.
right now.
Yeah.
69 is not the product of 13 and 3.
it's
That
not.
actually gets you to 39.
See, I actually thought it didn't sound right, but then I just know I'm not good at math, so I was like, that probably is right because I can't understand
Doesn't
it.
sound right, but I don't know the actual answer, so I'm just gonna butt out.
I was like, that
you.
doesn't sound right, so that's got to be right.
People screw you on
Interesting
change all the
logic.
time, huh? They're like, here you go, sir. Here's 75 cents back. And you're like, that doesn't. Fuck.
That's probably right.
I have a lot of faith in cashiers.
You feel defeated every time you get changed.
I'm just like, I hope so.
Have you guys ever been shortchanged by a cashier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's happened.
Like, what have you, like, any notable incidents of
Oh, I don't know. I
shortchangedness?
feel like that stuff happens to people all the time. You know, it's like, oh, excuse me, sir, I gave you a 20.
So
not
my
a 10.
mom was telling me the other day, she went to the movies with my dad, and she was like, she called me because she felt so guilty about this. She was like, She went to the cashier and she bought like some popcorn and like a drink. And she went back and she's like, when she was walking back, she's like, oh crap, they shortchanged me because I gave her 20 and I only got like $1 or something back. It was less than $10. So she went back and talked to, and they're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And there was a whole ordeal and stuff. And she's like, oh yeah. And she went back to my dad. My dad's like, wait, no, I gave you 10. And so she basically didn't realize it. She went to the cashier and convinced the cashier that she had given more money than she did and got more.
Oops.
And she was like, Freddie, what do I do? Like, I'm like, yeah. And I really laid
Just let it happen, Mom.
Well, but I laid it down. I was like, well, it sucks. Those minimum wage jobs, they probably check the till every night. And that she came up short. She probably had to pay that.
She came up short. That was probably her third write-up.
She probably had to pay that, and she had to pay that
fired.
right out of
No,
pocket.
that you get in trouble if there's more money in the till than it's supposed to. Because
She's not going to make her rent.
do you ever do retail? Well, I guess you did Best Buy. But
Yeah.
you ever do, like when I was at the pizza place.
She's probably homeless now.
Dude, I had that
just trying to
experience-
support her orphaned little sister with a movie theater job.
I had
Yeah,
that experience where my girlfriend my wife gave me a check and I deposited it, and then one day I was like, wait, it's not in my
Correction, sir.
Yeah.
Wife.
Yeah. I'm like, wait, this is not in my account. And I looked and like, sure enough, it just never went into my account. And like, I didn't have the receipt because I'm not fiscally responsible in any way. So I went to the bank. I'm like, I deposited a
This is
check.
credit union?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I deposited a check
that's
and it
happened.
didn't. It was in the wrong
It
place.
disappears,
And
yeah.
sure enough, it was the person just plugged in the wrong number.
Yeah, that's
And
happened.
I didn't do it. But once it's a day, it's like really difficult to undo that
Yes,
if it's
it
been
is.
more than 24 hours because it's like it's in somebody else's
It's
money.
in there.
But eventually they bring the person. They're like, "Do you remember the teller?" And I was like, I
No.
don't want to say. I'm like,
No.
no. I'm like, no, I don't remember.
no.
And the guy's like, that's okay, we'll figure it out. And like, they get the cameras, and then she comes
We
in.
got
and
cameras everywhere.
she was in the room, and I could just tell. Like, I'm like, is she fired? Like,
No
how bad is
way.
this? And like when the guy walked out to go get something, it was just me and her, and she's like, I'm
Oh.
so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's okay, it's not a big deal, it's gonna
Yeah.
be fixed. But like, there's nothing I can do. I can't stop her from getting fired. I felt really bad. I didn't want to get anybody in trouble, but I was like, hey, I need
Too
my
bad.
$1,000.
Need that
Like,
paper. Need that paper.
But that's a really awkward situation
That's
to
scary.
be in.
I love that they force you to confront the person
Yeah, I
who
know.
wronged you. Like,
Yeah.
as if, I bet you they're like, perhaps he will get some sort of satisfaction.
Closure.
I just started blaming myself. I'm like, I should have checked the receipt when you gave it to me. Like, I would have noticed it if I had done
I love
it.
the idea of doing a bank teller lineup, and it's like, number 4, step forward.
Who did this to you?
I want you to say, how's your day?
Man. Anyway, so I
Do you
told
know when, like, somebody, sorry, just on the note, when I'm not going to describe the person, but are you in that situation where somebody says, like, who are you talking to? And you just start going through your head of all the adjectives that are inappropriate.
Oh, I
Like,
know.
it's like, oh, shit, I can't say, well, she's large, not large, okay, bit, like,
she's,
what was
she's
it?
heavy,
curly
no,
hair?
no,
Okay,
no,
curly hair, that's
hair's
good. That's, she's like, we have a lot of curly hair people.
shit.
Is it Hispanic? Is that appropriate? Every time somebody asks me to describe somebody, I just.
Oh, you
that's
go
one of the
straight
few
for
times-
the. It's how you know everyone's secretly just kind of racist and sexist and everything.
Yeah.
You just go straight for the worst terms in your head.
Yeah,
It's
I,
like,
I don't really get nervous, but I gotta say, anytime somebody asks me to describe somebody, that's when I just feel as white as possible. I'm just like, I just start sweating. I'm like, I don't
because
know
you're
how
like-
to describe
No,
that
because
person.
you're like, can I say he was Asian?
yeah, exactly. That's how it is. Like the Asian guy. Why do you guys say Asian first? Why couldn't you say the guy with the
Really?
tattoos?
Because
I
you
didn't
know
he
that
had
he's very
tattoos.
tall. That's interesting that the first
Yeah.
thing you noticed, sir, was that he was Asian.
The girl who was wearing a red sweater had larger feet and looked normal.
I won't remember the feet girl.
Yeah. What race? I don't see race. Like, sir, just who are you talking about? Yeah. Anyways.
There's a sketch in there where it's like you have a super politically correct person who just like can't bring themselves to describe. And it's like, there's so many the brown-eyed gentleman. It's like, well, they all have brown. Damn it! Oh man. So I told my mom all that, and she's like, oh my god, I'm like, Mom, just go back and just apologize and give him some money. And so the next week she called, like, did you go back to the movie theater? So, I forgot all about that.
I've moved on, Frederick.
Well, it's funny that you're talking about more money in the till.
Yeah,
getting
that's
you in
also-
trouble.
that's not
so
good.
I hung out
$5
with.
either direction would get you a warning at that place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I hung out
Wait,
with a.
at which place?
When I worked at a pizza place
At the
Universal,
pizza place. Okay, so
Universal
at
City.
this retail joint,
Yeah.
it was $5. I was thinking the bank.
Oh no.
That's a lot of leeway in a
Yeah,
bank.
yeah.
Yeah.
You got $5
less.
either way,
$5
give or take.
Mr. Wells Fargo don't care.
It might have only been
As long as
$1.
you hit the ballpark.
It might have been it might have only been $1, but it wasn't. That was like automatic warning. Essentially,
Yeah.
if you were off, it's like you.
That's
obviously, if
that's
you're off
a-
5 cents or 10 cents, you might have dropped it. Who knows?
No, but my first job was running a register at a grocery store
Yeah.
back in high school, and there's no leeway.
Yeah.
So you're saying $10 will get you fired?
Probably
Yeah.
$10 is quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Harsh, Mom.
I mean,
That's
you
your
can-
job.
Yeah.
That is your job.
Just make sure the money's the same.
Make sure
going
the money.
in and out.
Yeah, exactly. Get
Yeah.
the count right. Get the count.
So I was talking to a friend yesterday who probably would not appreciate me mentioning their name because of what they did. They
who
worked
is it?
at Magic Mountain growing up. And
The
there was
rad
a
roller coaster
incredibly well-known, apparently to all the employees there, incredibly well-known scam to skim off the top. Because what they would do, and I don't know the details of it specifically, but like what they would do is, this was back when everybody obviously there would be some business to the post roller coaster photo taking booth, you know? So what they would do is they had like a deal where it was like 2 for $10, but it'd be the same size as another deal. So they would charge you $7 and then give you and print out the 2 for $10, run it through the system as 2 for $10, and so it'd be $3 left over. So he was like, yeah, by the end of the night, you would clear like $150. You'd put it in your shoe.
It is
and
magic.
and walk out. And then
Magic Mountain.
and he was saying that and he was saying like
Where dreams come true at $3 at a time.
yeah, well, no, 150. Well, because remember, people actually use these.
Yeah.
People paid for these roller coaster pics
Yeah,
back
I
in the
got
day.
some at home. Yeah.
An industry decimated by the cell phone, by the way. Roller post ride pictures.
Love 'em.
And he would say it was crazy because you bring like a couple $100. Like this is what you get on a busy night. You get a couple $100. And then like there was a huge sting and bust where like every employee except like him and a couple of the friends, like everyone got caught. And they'd be like, "Did you know about this?" Like, "Oh gosh, no. Oh, that's horrible.
You know,
Dude, such a
they
terrible
found out
thing."
because there's one person who kept asking you to
No,
get
you want to
that
know
job.
you want to know how they found out? He's like, so yeah, the managers like looked in the trash one day because remember they do a 2 for $1, and they just in the trash was just a stack of photos. And they'd be like, this was cut from like the 2 for $1. Why is only one of these photos getting? What's going on here? Like it was like, but
Oops.
yeah, exactly. Right? It's like, guys, come on, cover your tracks. It's like, there's a bunch of teenagers making minimum
Yeah,
wage.
he went,
Nobody-
hey, you're fired. Fuck it.
there's no criminal mastermind.
Magic Mountain, sayonara, suckers.
I made 2,000 bucks
Thanks.
these 2 weeks.
Thanks for letting me off the hook. It smells like barf around here. I'm out.
Yeah, you can't do much with a teenager. They're just gonna be like, okay,
Yeah,
sure.
all right.
There's
Okay,
no
fine.
Frank Abagnale's over there.
Yeah, exactly. There's no criminal masterminds coming up with the next big scheme,
Yeah, no,
making
no.
off like bandits. The theme park industry. And then so I was actually at Disneyland recently, and it was funny because it was raining that day, and everyone's like, "Oh, when it rains, it's like, oh, it's gonna be better for park and stuff." It's like, not really, not anymore. But I was on the roller coaster at California
Adventure, yeah,
which is a fast roller
In
coaster.
the rain.
But no, it wasn't rain. It was cloudy, and then it rained for the entire duration of being on the ride.
Yeah.
So, but that was it. It
Yeah.
stopped as soon as they're done. But the ride photos afterward were the funniest ride photos. I've never seen a crowd of people gathered around just gleefully laugh and just sheer mirth. Look at because every single photo is everyone just like
Just astounded that
like there's
they're
like little
wet.
kids like putting their hands up and like people just like cringing in their seats because they're getting at that moment of the ride. They're getting pelted so hard by rain that your face are just like and just every single it was just a murderer's row of people making insane faces on the roller coaster.
That's
It's
awesome.
quite entertaining.
Is that true? How often do you think that is? I always wonder that about amusement parks because you always think holiday, oh, maybe it won't be as packed or it will be as packed.
So I was
Rain,
reading-
how often do you think today's the day because
Everyone
nobody else is
thinks
going to be there,
that.
and then everyone thinks that same
so
thing.
so
and it's
so
the
there
worst.
was a guy actually ranked what the actual like what affects theme park like Disneyland specifically attendance, and he's like, okay, look, all the old wives' tales of like Super Bowl Sunday, no, worst time to go. Like Thanksgiving weekend, worst time to go. It's like
Man,
Thanksgiving
we've been
is
there on a Thanksgiving.
awful.
That's
packed.
not
Yeah.
a good time to go.
so number one is just time of year. So if it's like time of year and day of week. It's like those two together are the biggest factors. A Wednesday in the slow time of year is going to be consistently the best. The next thing that affects it is huge amounts of weather. So it's like if it's like super pouring, but the problem is because a lot of people don't go because they close stuff down, things like that. So like that affects it. But like those are like the two. Everything else is just like barely affects it. So it's like any sort of like special weekend or
doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. It's just what time of year is it and are you going on a weekday? That's it. And Disneyland's always funny to me because I didn't live, I didn't grow up in California, and I have some friends down here who did, and they talked about how when they grew up, Disneyland functioned essentially as a daycare for them because their parents would buy them a pass. So the parents would buy them a season pass in Orange County, and Disneyland's a safe place, and you can get in for free with the season pass. And it's like 6 hours after they go to school, they'll just stop off at Disneyland, and it's just a place they just hang out. And the cost of the
That's
season
the most
pass.
I
awesome
forget that
daycare
Freddie
ever.
had
That's
rich
great.
friends.
No. Because the cost of the cost of daycare. The cost of daycare
Because our parents
is
did the
greater
same
than the
thing.
cost of a single season pass for a kid.
Sure, we understand the bargain value of this proposal, but
That's not rich friends. That's just people at daycare. You see that now. My point is, if you go to Disneyland now at 3 or 4 o'clock,
My daycare was going home to a house with no parents.
or my
First of all, I didn't live down here.
or my daycare was sitting on the stoop in front of school for 3 hours by myself until my parents were able to get there after work.
That's like
Do your homework.
That's like blank check shit. It's like,
That's my
Disneyland every day forever.
No, that's my thought. That's what's insane. These kids are completely. No, that's insane. These kids are completely desensitized to Disneyland.
how did they get there?
I don't know. They get a ride. They get a
chauffeur.
Their limo driver.
I don't know, but my point is, if you go to Disneyland on a weekday at around 3 or 4 o'clock, there's a giant influx of like
Kids.
10-year-old kids. You're just like, where are all
Rich
these kids
kids.
coming from?
I want to meet your
kids.
friends. You like just come into this and you realize that was illegal. He's like, wait, what happened? Your parents just
Oh, absolutely.
You just gone to a
Unaccompanied
bus. You just
minors
gone
at
to- you just
Disneyland?
gone to a bus to Disneyland with no parents.
Safe or not, you don't leave unaccompanied minors.
You know,
to run
Matt,
amok.
you know a lot of these people. It's not friends from back home. It's here.
Really? Who?
It's people in here. It's people who grew up around this
That's
area.
crazy.
If people grew up in Orange County, Matt.
I went
didn't.
to Disneyland. Like,
I'm sad to report I didn't have that amazing
well,
childhood.
look, I'm not saying.
We had the
I'm not on
we
this
had the
list.
not saying I
Merrifield
don't have
swimming
rich
pool.
friends.
Yeah, we had a watering hole, like a mud pit. Our parents would drop us off at. Here, stay here for the next 3 months. It's
My
summertime, boys.
She did. She dropped us off for all
Every
summer
day.
at the pool.
Live at the pool. Don't drown. See you later.
It was really weird
great.
because I would come home sometimes and there was like, I guess it just shows I was an idiot when I was a kid, my brother and I. Because we show up and we'd be like, knock on the door, shit, it's closed. And then we'd just be like, all right, well, let's just hang out in front of the house. And at no point were we like, hold on, okay, one, we need a fucking key system
You need
in
a key
place.
to
Like,
your
this is
house.
insane.
To the house.
Your own house.
But two, at no point were we like, I grew up in Normandy Park, which is like, it's elderly people and families. There's no crime that happens in Normandy Park. At no point was my brother and I just like, we could just like leave the back door unlocked and we just go back there and open it up. Like no one's ever gonna. We leave the garage door unlocked because we had a security system. Did you have a security system growing up?
No.
We had a security system for no reason.
We had like a sharp stick in the garage, my dad with a stick. Something ever went down. That was
It was
it.
for no reason we had a security system. And the more I think about it, the more annoyed I get by that because there's so many times where we would open the door, go home, like, and then I'm like, oh, shoot the security system, and like I would just like screw up keying in the code, and it frees you out, and then you get panicked, and then it'd be like, before I know it, like 20 minutes later, there's cops at my house, and my mom's like, why are the cops here? I'm like, I forgot the code, I screwed it up 3 times, the cops showed up automatically. She's like,
wow.
Have you ever been robbed?
never.
We almost were burglarized. Almost.
We had a guy in a ski mask
What?
with a giant blade cutting
Whoa.
the screen out of the window.
Whoa!
My mom wakes up in her bedroom. She wakes up,
Yeah, my dad was at work.
sees this guy. Yeah, he was working the night shift. Sees this guy cutting the screen window open with his blade.
Downstairs, upstairs, where?
Downstairs, the
Downstairs.
first floor. And she just silently slunk out of bed, grabbed us, and ran out the front door and took us to the neighbors and called the cops.
Yeah.
And then so he didn't go in.
He was like the neighborhood serial rapist. Ended up getting caught
Yeah, he
later
got
that
caught
night.
and-
Oh my god!
What?
Yeah.
He was caught.
Yeah.
He eventually called our house from prison one time.
What?
No,
My
that was a
dad-
different guy.
Oh, that was a different. That,
That
was the guy. yeah.
who robbed our mother at gunpoint
Yeah,
at a grocery
at
store.
Kroger, I
Put a
forgot.
gun
Oh
in
my
her
God.
Poor
face.
mom.
Wait,
poor
where
mom,
did you guys
poor mom,
grow up?
Poor
This
mom is very jumpy nowadays because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
a tough. She's
That's-
a tough
that-
gal.
It was,
Yeah, my
a,
mom
it was a
got-
rough part of town.
And
man.
then one Christmas, we were at our Christmas Eve. We were at our grandparents. We came home and somebody tried to break into our house to
Wait,
rob
hold on,
us,
real quick.
but
I love that
the
this
dog
started.
scared him away.
I love
Yeah.
that this started with Matt being like, "Hey, have you guys got robbed?" It's like, no, and you're like, not. Well, and then you guys went in like 4 stores and just like, what?
Yeah, my
Yeah,
mom
man,
walked
Broadway.
into a bank robbery.
Oh,
What?
God.
Into it?
That's
Into
scary.
it, opened the door to the bank robbery, saw it's like the only big bank robbery in South Pasadena. Walked into the bank. There's 3. She just knows everybody was quiet.
Yeah.
So people were on the floor, and the guy was like, "Ma'am, can you come with me?" And he started like pulling her in, and she just looked around. She just turned around and sprinted out.
Oh my God.
wow.
So they actually, for a while, like she was known at the bank as the person who stopped this bank robbery because the moment she just sprinted out of there, the guys were like, "Okay, we gotta go."
Yeah.
And they didn't get the ATM machine, which is where all the money is, because that bank ended up
Yeah.
not having a vault.
Oh.
So they didn't get like anything.
That, by the way,
So they didn't even
criminals.
case the joint.
That's
These
why you
idiots.
case the joint,
yeah,
criminals.
they didn't do shit. It was so stupid. She just sprinted, ran across the
That's
street, and was
awesome.
like, "There's help!" And then the cops came like right away, and they ended up
Is
catching them later.
it Is it raw balls or pure stupidity?
To turn around and not get shot in the back.
No, I was saying to just bust into a bank willy-nilly and decide, I'm going to rob this
Sheer
right
stupidity.
now without any planning
How great
whatsoever.
would that be? Like, give me all your money. It's like, we
don't have
I
any.
got like $200 in the thing.
God.
Never mind.
No, open the vault.
You walked in.
We don't even have a
Give me all your
vault.
money. If Matt was in, there's like, well, I don't even have it. They didn't deposit to the right account. They gave it to the wrong guy.
Yeah, what bank is this?
The teller comes up. I'm so sorry. We don't have any money.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
We don't have any money. And then my parents' house got robbed like 2 years ago. That's a freaky
man.
feeling. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
it's sad.
It was definitely. I mean, it's like somebody just goes through all your shit and takes
So
stuff.
I live in the building
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm tucked
violation.
away. I'm tucked away in the corner of it. But Jimmy has this awful habit of like either walking the dog or just leaving and not locking the door. And to be fair, it's way in the it's a building. It's kind of a locked gate.
Your building is fairly
Secure.
secure.
It's a secure building, but it's like inside it. Anyway,
It's Los Angeles.
but the point is, it's downtown. And like I was like, Jimmy, I swear to you, if I come home and you're not here and this door is unlocked, I'm taking one of your magic cards, looking it up, see how much it's worth, and burning it. And he was like,
That's his punishment? You're burning a magic?
hold on.
That's amazing that's the thing that would hurt Jimmy most.
Door's been locked ever since, man.
Really? It worked?
It totally
That's great.
worked.
Oh, I love it that's how you get over on Jimmy.
Well, here's the thing with bank
Threaten his
robbers.
cards.
Here's the thing with bank robbers, right? It's like they're not gonna. The guys who are good are the guys you don't hear about because they're the ones that get away with
Those
it.
are the best.
They don't want to. They don't want to
Best
talk
criminals
about
in history. You don't know who they are, right?
Yeah.
Well, my favorite story of this was there was a guy. My favorite story was there was a guy who what he did was he was going to rob a bank. He had cased the joint first, so would be criminals case your joints. He put up a Craigslist ad saying, "Hey,
I think
any
I heard about this.
freelance, sort of road construction work going on at this intersection. We're taking anybody who shows up. It's something like garbage collection, stuff like that. Please wear orange vest and reflective vest and so and so, and so meet at this time, and so like 20 people show up dressed in these vests and looking around like, okay, where's the foreman? Meanwhile, he's robbed the bank and timed it so that his exit coincides with when he told them to go there, and he's wearing the exact same outfit as all of them. And so while he crosses the street, goes down the riverbank, and then gets on not a car, but a floaty donut thing, like a dinghy. No, like when you get dragged behind on a boat.
tube?
Inner tube, right? There's an inner tube waiting for him there in the weeds they put in there. Takes off all stuff, just gets on and lazily floats down the river. Meanwhile, cops roll in. There's 20 guys matching a subscription. They arrest all of them.
Yeah.
They check everyone. It's total confusion. They don't have a getaway car. They have a description of him, but they match all these guys. It's not any of them.
And he just looks like a dude
He
enjoying
got
a
away.
river.
He got away. The only thing they found was the inner tube, another like 2 miles down, like on the riverbank. Totally got away.
So he only got like enough for like a briefcase or something.
That's some inside man stuff.
Sure.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
He robbed the bank successfully, Matt, and you're concentrating on the specifics of
No,
the
I'm
take.
trying to figure out how much he got.
I know.
Clearly, that guy's a genius.
Do they not have him on video though?
Well, he did, but he's wearing a road construction outfit.
The worst thing about being able to, I mean, like, that would suck so bad to be a
deserves it.
successful
He
bank
deserves
robber, but then you couldn't brag about it. The one thing I would want to do after successfully robbing
why
a
you get
bank
caught.
is brag about it.
why you get
Like,
caught.
I did it.
You'd
I
be
got
a
away.
terrible
And then-
bank robber.
And it's like, it sucks. You can't even brag about it.
Now you got to enjoy the secret.
Oh,
Like, man,
I
how do
hate
you know
'em.
this? Why do you got a nice car all of a sudden? Don't worry about it, man.
You see,
Don't
you
worry
could do
about
that. I
it.
couldn't do that. I'd be like, I robbed a bank.
Matt's like, yo, you know that Bitcoin? Yeah.
I won't say anything.
Hey, that
Don't
money's
worry about
insured anyway, guys. You're not hurting anybody.
it. Yeah, I heard of the banks, man. Fuck the banks.
Fuck the corporations, man.
Hey, that guy deserves it. He got away. And he didn't kill anybody.
You kill
He
nobody.
used a tube.
That's the
tube.
best part is that he didn't get in the car, so people
No,
were like,
he relaxed out of
because they thought
there.
he fled on foot.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, oh, he must have. Okay, walking distance.
Nobody's
Like,
expecting man
nobody
in inner
expects
tube.
man in inner tube on the river.
And they obviously don't have a picture of him, so they really don't know what he was like in the inner tube. In my mind, he definitely had swim trunks.
Swim
Yeah.
trunks.
Stripped down, just like laying in the sun, just chilling, and everybody's like
floaties around
nobody's
his
gonna look at
elbows.
that guy and be like, that's the guy who robbed the bank.
No.
No.
The guy who's still like a quarter mile away relaxing in an inner tube is clearly
With
not
a
our
pair
man.
of purple shades.
He is not our man.
What a baller.
Yeah.
How would you rob a bank?
That. I'll just do that again.
Just do that exactly.
Clearly,
I
that
think it would
works
work.
perfectly.
I think you could probably do that about 4 more times before
At the
before they're
exact
like,
same bank.
Yeah, before they're like, okay, guys, if you get there and there are 20 people dressed the same, do not look for them. Go someplace else. I think you could get away with that a few more times.
Yeah. Or you do it heat style. The opposite is heat style. You go in guns a-blazing and leave no witnesses.
No, there's plenty of witnesses. But you got masks. You gotta do it like
like that one L.A. Those whatever the great Hollywood shootout or whatever. Those guys.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, the Iron Men.
That was insanity.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do any of that. I wouldn't be good at robbing a bank.
What about the pizza bombers? Do you guys read the pizza bank heist story?
Yes,
from,
it has a
from years
bad
ago?
ending, unfortunately.
It
but
is.
yes.
It is an unfortunate
most
ending.
heists.
And
Didn't they
bizarrely
make a movie on that?
was turned into a comedy
Yeah,
starring
they made
Danny
that poor
McBride.
guy's demise into a movie. That's terrible.
Yeah,
The guy just blew him up.
Yeah, they blew.
Yeah, they blew him up. They
like
blew him
live
up.
on Fox,
Basically,
like local network news.
Yeah, anyone who's not familiar with the story, a
like we
couple
don't believe you. He's
decided,
like, you gotta help me.
a couple decided to rob a bank, so they called the local pizza joint,
Yeah.
ordered a pizza. Pizza guy shows up to a vacant lot. He then discovers where he is taken into a shed and a bomb is strapped to his chest, and he is told he has 60 minutes before the bomb explodes. He needs to go rob this bank and bring the cash back to them at a new location, and they will then disarm the bomb. Well, he goes, he robs his bank, believing he has no choice, and the cops arrive, and they hold him up outside the bank, and he's screaming, "I got a bomb on my chest," and they don't want to get near him because
he has a bomb on
he
his
has
chest.
a bomb on his chest.
They don't know if he's telling the truth about
and
getting out of there.
in the process of them trying to figure out what steps to take,
Yeah.
the bomb detonates, and it does not end well.
Did they find the couple?
They did.
That plan was a bad plan.
Yeah, it was a bad plan.
and then they made a Danny
'Cause-
McBride movie.
because-
out
And
of
they
it.
make a Danny McBride movie out of
What
it.
a-
Like, if I was his family, I'd be so
That
pissed.
plan
right?
involved a person with a bomb coming back to your location.
Right.
Like that.
I didn't even realize it. You're
Like
exactly
that is
right.
the biggest breadcrumb. Is like, hey, we don't want to be the guys at the bank. That would be too obvious. They'll catch us. So
Well, we
let's
should
send-
get a guy there.
let's
No,
send a
no,
guy with a
or
bomb.
yeah, exactly.
Well, no, this is the thought process. Like, what if it wasn't us? Let's
Yeah.
just send someone else. Yeah, but then why
That's a
would
good
they do
idea.
it? Why would they do it though, Matt?
Huh?
Why would some stranger wouldn't just rob a bank
Yeah,
for
so
us?
you got to strap a bomb to them to make sure they come back to us.
Good, perfect.
That makes sense.
It was like every
Wait. Wouldn't the cop, like, he'll probably get caught just like we would get caught. That's why we were scared of doing it in the first place.
No, too much thinking. Just get the call the pizza
Just get
place.
the pizza on the way.
How
We'll
can we
figure it
get a
out.
human being
I just
over
imagine
here?
him be like, guys, let me go there. He knocks on the door. He's like, hey, I'm back. Can you disarm me? By the way, all America knows like where you guys live now.
Well, the entire plan is predisposed on, hey, you think a stranger can successfully rob a bank?
Did they have a
Yes.
gun? Did they have guns on him?
I believe so. I can't recall. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, honestly, not big complaint. That's a horrible experience for that person. I'm trying to think what I would do in that situation, which is probably what he would do. Probably piss myself and walk and do everything that I'm trying and hoping I'll survive. The other thing to do would be like, I'm not. I just hug them. Like, I'm not moving. You either shoot me or you blow this bomb up and kill all of us. Because this is not. Or try to rationalize. Like, you guys realize this is not going to end well. I'm going to come back here, and cops are going to be following me.
See, I got the best one. I'll just start speaking Chinese. Like, what? What do you guys want me to do? In Chinese. They're like, shit.
Never mind. Forget
shit,
it.
this guy can't.
They just shoot you.
Well, no. Because
Right, so speaking Chinese, they just shoot
They
him.
point a gun at your face, and then you go, "Oh no, I speak perfect English."
No, because Matt,
Don't
they
shoot
won't
me.
need to. Because I know nothing. I don't even understand them. Think about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Benji, how'd
I
you
mean,
rob a
clearly
bank?
these weren't rational people, so
Yeah, I
who
know.
knows what they would do?
If those people did, if the pizza people
No,
caught me,
you.
what I would do?
You were robbing a bank.
Bazooka? I don't know.
Bazooka!
Blow it open with a
At least,
Wait, no.
If
Where
they
would
don't
you
open the vault. They don't open the vault. I'm blowing that.
where would you use the bazooka? So you just walk into the bank with a bazooka.
Or do you just stand across the street and shoot a bazooka into the general direction?
I
of that
think I
said
find
bank?
which wall the vault is on. And I bazooka from the outside.
I see.
I
All
walk
right.
in there.
No, vaults are just
No.
the vaults. They're really strong on one side, but the rest is just
Yeah,
drywall.
it's crazy that they don't think about that.
Yeah,
It's paper thin. Paper
thin all around.
They
it.
just-
It's
They're
not
not-
bazooka proof.
Okay, let's just accept I'm not going to be a good robber, guys.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible criminal.
Speaking of paper thin walls, Alicia's mom was
Whoa.
in a
Interesting segue.
No, yeah.
Break
sorry.
check.
Hey, hold on. Sorry, hold on. This is
We're done with the
this
bank
sentence
robbing.
starts. No, we're back. We're still on the topic of robbing.
Okay,
It started poorly. It started very poorly. Okay, she works at a jewelry store, and that jewelry store was very famously robbed because it's one of the biggest sort of like high profile robberies in terms of money that hasn't been solved yet. They've caught half of the people, but not
wow.
everybody. And the way they did it, to explain my insanely weird and vaguely sexy statement
Yeah.
just now, The way they did it was the place was super secure. Obviously, it's a jewelry store. So they broke into the place next door, which wasn't a jewelry store and wasn't super secure, and just
popped the hole in the wall.
hammered through the drywall.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, they just waited for it. Was the store next door was like an empty one. Nothing was there. Blew through the drywall and just waited. And when they came in, everyone came in the morning. There was just guys there. And they're just like, all right. And they threw them into a back room, cleaned the place out, and just got out of there.
Why'd they wait? Why didn't they just take all the shit? And
Well,
leave?
they
Because
probably needed
all the alarm
access
systems
to the,
and stuff,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So when people came, they didn't alarm the walls, obviously. So they came
So
in.
this
they just-
heist was predicated upon the element of surprise.
Yes.
Yes.
And so Alicia was saying one day, she's like, got home from school, and she's like, how's your day, Mom? She's like, I was all right. We were robbed. I was in a room all day, bound and gagged. And
Oh my God.
I was like, whoa.
That's intense.
It's pretty intense. But they only recently caught one of the guys, and like it was again years and years later, in Europe or something. It's like it's clearly like a group of just international thieves,
Diamond thieves.
There's an interesting book
cool.
called
That is cool that
That's
they're
cool.
out there. Some
Yeah.
real diamond thieves.
Yeah.
There was an interesting book called
Professionals.
Confessions of a Master Jewel Thief. And like any sort of crime tell-all, there's a certain level of you're like, how much is he embellishing?
He's bragging.
He's definitely bragging. But the basics of it was actually very interesting because the guy was essentially, he got his start because his family would manage properties. So he was like a property manager. So he got really good at, just being a property manager and was doing that for a while. But then he started realizing, I was like, wait, you just need a certain letterhead, and I have all the contacts at the lock companies. I can just mail them and say, hey, I'm the manager at this building and I need a key for this. We need a copy. And they'll just send you the keys. Because he's like, this is really easy for my buildings. Like, can't I just do this at other buildings? And he started, and he would do stuff where he'd be like, he'd do that. It's just like, letterhead buildings, and then just get a key to a place and wait for someone to leave and just go in and rob it because he had the keys to the place. The other thing that he would do was that people on top floors don't lock their balcony doors, their sliding doors. So he would just get up on the roof. So he would go to the buildings. He would get like not the key for a tenant's place. You can't do that, but you can get the key for the roof, right?
Yeah.
So he would get up on the roof and then just drop down onto their balconies and just open the door and then clean the place out and leave the same way he came. And like for a while, it's baffling people because they're like, it's a locked room. Nobody got in, and the door was locked, and everything is gone. How's this possible? And nobody conceived of the ability to go up and around. And so that was his whole. And the book is interesting up until the point where he starts to get caught, and it spends like a good half of the book just him being a total dick in Florida, just like waiting trial and stuff. And you're just like, this guy's an asshole. But his whole sort of thing where it was just like, yeah, it's just like it turns out the way you rob people is just go around and just do things the way people don't expect, and you're fine. Nobody will care. Like he's like, especially people on top floors because they think they're invincible because nobody's coming to the front and nobody's coming into the ceiling. So that's it.
People on the second to highest floors are good.
Yeah.
It's just the top floor is bad.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't keep dropping.
No.
That'd be
He would just go
dangerous.
down one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And he did a number of high-profile jewelry thefts in Miami back in the '80s. It was sort of it was a really interesting sort of look at how he. And he
How
was
long
talking
was he
about
in prison?
a while. And he actually talked about a really interesting
Crime
one.
doesn't pay people.
Yeah. He talked about a really interesting one where he robbed it. There was in his town, the mob was running a casino, like an underground casino. And he was casing it out and being a guy there and stuff, and sort of knew where they kept the money. He's like, okay, I'm gonna wait for like a holiday weekend afterwards because that's gonna be the most take after that weekend. And he planned out everything, just like, okay, I'm gonna come in through this door. I have the keys for this. I know the brand of safe. I know the type of safe. I know exactly how to break this safe. It's gonna take me like 6 hours to drill it. If I go in at 2 a.m., I have this amount of time. I like just everything planned out to a detail, to a T. Executed his plan. Got up into the room. Safe was just unlocked. They just forgot to lock it. And he's like, what? And he just opened it, just like took everything. He's like, that okay. And he left. And he's like, okay, well, first thing, I couldn't not start coming to the club anymore because they would be like, hey, that guy who keeps showing up, he's just gone now. That the dude is like, so he kept coming up and he would hear about, like, hey, did you hear this place got robbed? And so the whispers. But what was crazy is obviously the guy in charge of locking the safe didn't go like, no, I locked the safe, right? He was like, he's not gonna say, no, I must have forgot to lock the safe. He didn't say that. The guy,
Of course, he'd be dead.
He'd be like, no, I locked the safe. So then the mob basically assumed, well, then someone didn't drill this safe. They cracked this safe.
Yeah.
There's only like 10 people in the world who can do that. And they're just like, we're gonna find these people. And he's like, oh shit. Like because of the way it was, and they assumed that someone had just like masterfully opened it. It's like it narrowed their list of suspects down. And he's like, yeah, I don't know what happened to those guys, but I guarantee you that a lot of them probably didn't make it out of talking to the mob. Crazy stories of true crime
you don't
here on
rob.
the Facerocker Podcast.
Wow.
Don't rob the mob. Don't do that.
Don't
Yeah,
rob the
that's
mob.
a bad idea.
Moral of today's podcast.
Don't rob the mob.
And I feel like, I guess it's probably, I mean, how's he not dead now? I feel like mob holds a grudge for quite a while.
He actually writes about that where he was like, I wasn't going to
Not anymore.
Well,
They're not
it was a big
organized
thing. It was a big
anymore.
thing where he wasn't going to include this. He wasn't going to include the story. The amount that he robbed wasn't like a huge amount. It wasn't the mob. It was a smaller outfit. And he's like, and the people involved in this story are all dead at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He was like, I wasn't going to say. And then
Maybe
this guy who was the
son.
guy at the time.
He had a guy like Henry Hill running around making movies about all the stories he told and
Yeah.
all the people he ratted out. And I don't know.
People still disappear.
Anyway, more stories of true crime after the break. Hey, folks in the LA area, the Rocket Jump Film School is teaming up with the LA Public Libraries. We're doing a series of weekly seminars talking about all manner of filmmaking topics, cinematography, production design, just anything you can think of. It's free to the public. Check it out on our website, rocketjump.com. You'll get all the details there. We'd love to see you out there if you want to show up. Also on the website, we're starting to do some like equipment reviews and talking a little bit more technical stuff. We're writing that stuff up for the film school. Here's some thoughts in terms of some of the new cameras coming out, what's new and hip and fresh in the world of filmmaking, all on our site, rocketjump.com. And if you're in the LA area, stop by the LA Public Libraries. We're doing some seminars.
What are we talking about next, by the way?
Well,
No
you
more
gotta
stories of
list-
true crime. I'm sorry. That was just. I was trying to get people to stick around.
Next week,
That's
we should
all.
talk about our stories of crime, what we've done.
Yeah.
I need some time to think about it because I've done a lot.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
I got
Alright.
a couple things that come
There
to
you
mind
go.
already. I don't want to.
Hang on to your seats for next week.
When we discuss
The
more.
end. That's the end of this week, though.
I don't
we should
think we
all
should
get
do
this
that.
cleared with our lawyer.
Yeah, I
No,
don't think that's a
no,
smart
we should
idea.
definitely do it.
No.
Absolutely do it.
Just start at the
Admitting-
beginning. Just like everything
are-
we're about to say is fictional.
This now sound. We're making it sound as if we're all master
We're saying
criminals.
right now that is not fictional. But next week, when we say it's not fictional, I mean it is fictional.
Wow.
Don't worry about it.
just cut.
Never mind.
Just
Forget
in my
about
head,
it.
Can
just
we
in my
start
head,
over?
just in my head, it cuts to Matt sitting on the witness stand, and that just playing and echoing in the courtroom, and a judge being like, "So what were you saying?"
Yeah.
I just love that.
the prosecutor would use that. They'd be like, I don't know. I don't think he understood what he was saying. I don't
Clearly,
think-
my client's insane.
I would have loved to freeze that moment and go into Matt's thought bubble.
there was no thought. Like
See, just like a hamster picking his nose or something.
yeah, it was just my head just emptied, and I was just saying the word fictional and non-fictional over and over again. Neither meant anything to me. At that
What are
moment.
words really but constructs? Really, just vague approximations of human
I
idea.
had a stroke during that.
That'd be horrible, but it would be a podcasting first. So
Would
you
it?
know.
Maybe.
Probably,
it
yeah.
would be a Facerocker
I don't know.
podcast first, and that's all
Yeah,
that
so
matters.
Definitely the first stroke on Facerocker.
We all just come clean.
Stroke Rocker.
Oh God.
Face
Brought
So-
to you by Aspirin.
So Joseph Kahn yesterday.
Stroker. Is that what we're
Yeah,
talking
director,
Yeah,
music,
JK.
acclaimed music video director,
about?
Joseph
We love
Kahn.
Joseph Kahn.
Director of Torque.
A criminally underappreciated movie.
Torque. Saw that in theaters.
Torque. What else? Detention
Detention,
is
which-
rad.
Which
And every music video of the 90s, including
Yeah.
Taylor Swift's Blank Space video, which
he
is
Blank
essentially
Space.
created like that
The 90s
music
vibe,
video look. Probably one of the best music
Chili
video
Peppers
directors
Around the
of all
World.
time.
Britney Spears.
Bunch of Spears.
U2,
Wu-Tang
Britney
Clan.
Spears.
Timberlake.
We love him because he
Sinks.
takes pop and like what a lot of people would consider like garbage. Like something pulpy and trying to make it high art, whereas Joseph Kahn has no interest in whatever high art is
No.
and just does trash to an artistic level,
Mhm.
which some people like and some people don't. But
Which is an artistry unto itself.
oh,
Absolutely.
I think it's fucking incredible, and I honestly think Detention might be a straight masterpiece. And one of those things where 15 years from now, it's one of those things where if it had the word Godard in front of it, people will be like, "This is new. This is the new wave. This is new filmmaking. Like we haven't seen this before. This represents this culture unlike anything else." But it's just
Detention's on
Joseph Kahn.
Netflix now, I believe.
You should watch Detention. Everybody should watch Detention.
Highly recommend it. And it's also I think
It's insanity.
I think Hulk describes it as it's a movie where every character is in their own 90s movie.
And they're completely different 90s movies,
Mhm.
and they don't really jive together at all.
No.
But that's kind of part of it. It's like it's this weird like.
And Yeah, and the way he does camera movement for cinematographers out there, his camera moves are honed on the strop of thousands and thousands of hours working on music videos.
Yeah.
and like everything
It's the
is just
Cirque du Soleil
so
of
sharp.
cinematography.
Well, he hates the word coverage, and it's one of those movies where every single shot, even basic dialogue scenes, is completely designed.
Yeah.
It's pretty fast. I mean,
He
yeah.
directs the hell out
Yep.
of everything.
But anyway, we brought him up because
So he put out Power/Rangers,
Love the title.
great title.
which was it's another in the line of gritty fan film reimaginings. But this is coming from a guy who, like, I think it sums up his attitude towards it very much in his hit film interview, where he says the two type of least credible types of film for filmmakers are porn and fan films.
Yeah, I don't know if we've gotten into it too much. We try to not. At least I definitely try not to like tweet it because I don't know, people will take it the wrong way. But I don't think we have much respect for fan films. I don't mean to throw anybody under the bus, but most of the time we look at them and it's uncreative. It
And
is.
incidentally, and let me just caveat that by we fully acknowledge that we in our past and in our videos have stuff from fandom and have stuff
Yeah.
like we have a portal gun video stuff. But I think there's a difference between being like, hey, let's fuck around with the portal gun, or or even the
No, there's definitely a difference between
incredible
taking-
Sam Diego video, right, where they're like, hey, let's do portal and let's do like trick shots, basketball trick shots, and doing that versus.
There's definitely a difference between taking a property that you like and making a video as a fan and like transforming it and like doing a parody or a joke or something there. It's different than just taking like an IP and just being like, I'm just gonna do my story. You know what it really is? It really just comes down to execution. It's just a lot of fan films are just like indulgent looks into what they like and doing it in a very something that's like not in the spirit of the project of the property even in the first place. Like I look at something that's like Portal, like the Portal fan film that guy ended up getting actual jobs from. It's like that doesn't feel like Portal. That's like this weird gritty. That's nothing like Portal. Portal's fun and witty and it's an actual thing and that's the spirit of it. It's like what you did was you just took the iconography of Portal because it'd be popular and people would watch it and then made it some bullshit like serious sci-fi thing as opposed to doing something that actually feels like something that a fan would do. Anyways, that'll go too much on fan films. But yes, Joseph Kahn essentially came out and was like, yeah, fan films suck. They're not real things. But that's the genius of him because he was like, because they have no credibility, that means I can do whatever the hell I want if I do a fan film, essentially.
Yeah, and so he made the darkest, grittiest. And what I think was interesting about that, I was like, I remember after watching, we all looked at each other and we're just like, this literally proves that a dark and gritty Power Rangers is interesting for 15 minutes, which
It
is
would
how
suck.
long it would
Yeah,
suck.
it would suck.
For anything longer than what is exactly presented here. Like I could
wouldn't
stand
work.
this any longer.
I would
than
even
this.
say 15 minutes is almost pushing it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's at the very
Yeah.
edge. It's the very edge of how long you can like take that
It's funny because
seriously.
a lot of people were taking it seriously, like, oh my God, give Joseph Kahn the money, like
Yeah,
have him do
it's
it.
like,
And he was
no,
like,
no.
he was like, this is the most I would
Yeah.
do. He's like, this is it. They could offer me $200 million to do this as a full feature, and
It's
I
not
wouldn't
gonna
want to
happen,
do
yeah.
it.
And he brought up actually a really good point, which I hadn't heard. And I think, the more I thought about it, the more I agreed with, which was, he was like, look, when you do PG-13 for action and guns and stuff like that, that's a disservice. That's actually not a good thing. And his argument was, like, if you don't show blood and it's just like, oh, a guy just falls down, you're trivializing the
Yeah.
impact of what weapons are and,
Yeah.
and that sort of side of things. And he was like, I argue that's more detrimental.
But Freddie, you do gun stuff all the time without serious blood.
It caused
throwing
me
you
to
under the
think.
bus here. No, I
It
wanna see
caused
what
me
you
to
think.
think about it. So I think there's a couple of things. One is definitely we've definitely had our share of gory stuff and the gun side of things, and we arrived at it's sort of a weird it's a weird technical thing as well because like we arrived at sort of the smoke puff look
Yeah.
from a couple of things. One was it was like Hard Boiled, right? It has some of that. So it was like a little bit of homage to those sort of older movies. It's an easier effect to do than like a liquid squib, and still kind of gets that point across. And I think a lot of our stuff is definitely presented in like silly FPS or silly video game context, which kind of changes a little bit. No, but that's definitely something I was thinking about. Where it's
No,
like,
I think
is
you're
it
there. I
better?
was throwing you under the bus because I just wanted to see what you'd say on it. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously we've talked about this a lot. But yeah, I think there are some videos. I won't call out which exactly, but I think there are some videos which ride that line, and we've talked about this before. Where I'm like,
I
probably
got,
too violent.
No, it's fair. It's fair.
But
I think like the home invasion one, the Home Alone one, is
somebody
definitely
brought that
one.
up as a thing. But yeah, the fact is that they're contextualized as either cartoons or they're contextualized as video games, and they're contextualized in a way that clearly isn't real, which is why it's okay to do that. Like, you can contextualize anything correctly. What Joseph Kahn's getting at is if you make something gritty and real and presenting it as like this is serious in real life and like what real crime is,
But then you pull the punches.
yeah,
Right.
then to neuter it and then to sanitize it is problematic.
Yeah.
Because it's just indulgent. It's just like, this is cool. It would be cool to be a bad guy or a criminal, or
but not
or
think
the
too
guy
hard
killing
about
criminals.
and not think too hard about the actual like.
Yeah. Whereas nobody's watching
icky
you dance
parts.
with Sinead Grimes and be like, oh, that's what real gunfight is like and whatnot. It's like, no, clearly it's contextualized to be silly.
One of my favorite things though is reading like gun forums analyses of videos where we have weaponry. It's so entertaining because it's like it comes from such a place of like such gun worship.
Yeah.
Right. It's like let's look at this world through the lens of guns are the most beautiful and most perfect things ever created by man. And let's analyze things this way. It's like, whoa, that's weird, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are taking this a little too seriously. Oh man. So yeah, I guess it really comes down to like, don't hold anything too precious, really. And
The
have
coolest
fun
part
with
was the Megazords, I thought.
at the very
Megazords.
beginning.
At the beginning,
Yeah, the
Megazords is cool.
Megazords are cool.
I like
cool
the Kung Fu
stuff.
fight in the middle was pretty rad.
Kung Fu
I
fight with
appreciate how hard R and 11, especially if you guys saw the unrated version.
Oh, I love
how-
because there's one shot where it's just like, and it just cuts to just like tits.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Dolly's over, and he just does a line of cocaine on the Dolly movie.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
And I can definitely see that being read as like, again, the thing with Kahn, especially with Torque, like the problem that people had with Torque is like, oh, that was just a dumb Fast and Furious ripoff. He's the ultimate form of satire, which is it is so straight that it's just straight. It is 100%. And Torque,
I mean, there's that thing
Torque
where
is a
they say-
satire on big dumb movies of that type.
Well, there's the thing they say where if the problem with parody and that stuff type of thing is that if you're too close, you get so far into what you're parodying that it becomes indistinguishable
Yeah.
from what you're parodying.
Yeah,
Because if you're truly good at it, you're indistinguishable from what it is, which is I think where he lives all the time. And yeah, I just don't. And I was talking to someone, and they're just like, why would this guy do a studio movie and just like F around with it? It's like, it's because he makes more money directing commercials and music videos
Yeah.
than any director, right? Like he doesn't give a shit
Yeah.
about like, what my director's fee for this movie is. Like, no, he can afford to just go nuts with this kind of
Well,
stuff.
maybe not if you follow his Twitter.
yeah. I don't think he's like super. But
But
he's,
I'm saying back in
he's
the
well off
I'm
enough.
saying back
Yeah.
in the day
Sure.
of
Yeah.
when he was with all that stuff with the
Well, he
pretty-
spent all that on detention.
Yeah, self-financed.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
He spent millions of dollars on detention himself, which is why he's not jumping in to do another movie. I'm telling you, man. I'm just pointing out there. If there's a way, I say this all the time. There's a way for us to help Joseph Kahn make a movie. I mean, we are. We don't have. We're in a worse situation than him. But if we could, I would do it in a second.
Yeah, he's alright.
He's like a Kanye West.
we've
He's like
read-
pure id. He's just he's a
Fascinating
fascinating guy.
And I think I saw him once at the 24-hour fitness.
I
near
know.
our
I think I
office.
saw him too.
I know. I think he's around us.
Yeah.
We very. You need to.
You're out there,
talk to
Joe.
him. You need to talk to him.
Say hi at the
Joe
24.
Kahn.
He's
I know
tweeted
you're
you
there.
before.
He's anyway.
We
so
just wanna get a pump on.
his body of work is well worth examining and
I'll
studying.
go through all of his music videos.
Because like behind the video when MTV was doing that, it was
We were
like it was all
yeah.
him. It was like just straight up all him.
Oh, it's if you go back and see what music videos he's done, it's gonna be like, oh, he did everything.
Everything.
All of
It's
it.
like he did all of Britney Spears. He did all of Destiny's
He's responsible
Child
for
and-
so many different looks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's awesome.
I mean, okay.
DMX. He did,
So how would you guys
X gonna
do
bring it
your
to you.
power/Rangers video?
Well, we had. I mean, I don't think it's too much to say. It's like obviously Lionsgate has Power Rangers, and obviously like when we heard that, we're like, hey, we should like what could we do with Power Rangers if we were gonna do like a web series of it and stuff. Our angle was not that angle. Our approach is definitely not the super gritty. We had I don't want to say too much, but I would say we had a pretty fun like 21 Jump Street style thing where it acknowledged that it's a 90s show and involved like time travel. It had a really cool big opening, and it came into something that was really fun that if you were a kid, it would work just like Power Rangers. And if you were our age and you remembered Power Rangers, it worked in like a 21 Jump
tapping
Street
into that
sort of manner where like it
Yeah.
was kind of playing and making fun of the 90s TV while fully embracing it and being as cool and epic
and
as that
the
could be.
idea of reboots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you that definitely started with the death of the Red Ranger. Like that was a thing. It was like death of the Red Ranger going and then from there traveling to a different place where they were just the normal Rangers, and it was like, who's the Red Ranger? It was cool because we wanted to start with like having all the Rangers together at once and not doing the origin story in that way. So it became like the origin story of the new Ranger that comes in.
Because it's too obvious right away to be like, all right, here's the team.
Here's the team. The team's with Tude.
Yeah.
Instead, it became like super huge fight, all 5 dudes at once, super cool, big thing. Oh my God, Red Ranger dies right away. 4 other people are transported to essentially a
Establish some
dystopian
stakes.
Yeah, dystopian society where the aliens have won. I'll just go into it now. It's like the aliens had won. The aliens had won. Nobody remembers the Power Rangers. They're actually seen as bad guys in the past, but like this dystopian society just feels like 1990s high school. And these guys, and the 4 of them have to pretend not to be Power Rangers, just fit in at this normal high school. And then, of course, the new team with Tude is selected. A new Red Ranger, and the last thing he wants to be is a Power Ranger because everybody hates the Power Rangers. They're all seen as bad guys. So, how do those 4 find that one and then, go destroy this? I like it more than more even pitch of it. I wish.
Who was our villain?
What?
I can't remember. I know it wasn't
We had
Rita.
a few options. It wasn't Rita. We were thinking of like a new
There's
one.
a very rich history
Zed.
of Power
It wasn't
Rangers.
Zed either, but we dug into the Power Rangers lore, of which there is quite a bit.
Yeah,
a
it's one of those
bunch
things
of
where we got
slave
really
monsters
excited
and
about the
villains.
idea, but I don't think any of us were personally really excited about actually doing it. And then it was also one of those things where it was like they have their movie being done, and
You can't get in the way of that.
Can't get in the way of that.
Which, exactly, it
Telling
limits
you
your
that.
options.
I don't know what they're doing. I'm just putting it out there. Ours would have been better.
Oh!
Same. I think we would
We
have
don't
done
know.
a good,
They
it
have
would be a good
writers
story.
attached to their version now, don't they?
All of those Hollywood movies have writers attached.
That's how. Yeah, you're
And
right.
they're
That's
all-
the thing that happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, he wrote
yeah.
Agent Cody Banks.
The Cody Banks guy.
Writers wrote it to Cody Banks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
I haven't gone back and have you guys gone back and look at like the teen like things like Agent Cody Banks and like the Nickelodeon movies and stuff like that? Have you had a chance to ever look back at that era?
What do you mean? What era is that?
Like the
Is
Spy
this
Kids, Agent Cody Banks, like the sort of
Big
kids
fat
movies.
liar.
I think that's always around. We
Is
just don't
it?
see them
We just don't
anymore.
see it anymore, huh?
Maybe not a big movie.
Maybe it's
level.
just because we're older. You
Yeah.
don't pay attention. Because I mean, I
So we
know
were talking about Richie Rich
Yeah.
the other day,
remember
and how
Richie
Richie Rich is like the worst.
Well, that's like
possible.
the most Reagan era,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
90s bubble, like just
Yeah.
like straight up like, hey, you know what's the best fantasy for a kid is just being as rich as all the best people on the planet
Rich
are.
Rich and Blank Check came out
Yeah.
around the same year.
Well, Richie
I
Rich is
think,
also
or-
old. Like that's
Yeah,
around
that was an old
from-
school
Yeah,
one,
that's
yeah.
old school. That was around the
But
other
Blank
time period
Check-
that we all were
Yeah.
flush with money.
But I think Blank Check was like a very funny, indicative one where it was just like,
Oh, it was great.
it's just like, hey, if a guy just gives, because I remember like when I was a kid being like, I don't know if this is like, even as a kid,
Everything
like,
about
I
that
don't know
movie's
about
wrong.
it.
Everybody's like, well, he learns the lesson at the end. It's like, no kid remembers the lesson. They remember like get hit by a car, get all the money you want, and yeah, we were talking about it's like and bang a 40-year-old woman because that movie has
Yeah.
so much weird stuff going on.
Going
in it.
on dates with that old lady.
Yeah, it is jacked up. Like that's
the limo driver who doesn't have a future, just
Yeah.
wants to hang out with the kid and cash
everyone's
in
like
on
Black,
his dough.
not Black Snyder. What's his name? Zack Snyder. Who's the guy who wrote Save the Cat?
Save the cat or this
Blake.
darn
Black
cat?
Snyder.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Save the
It's
Cat.
Blake, isn't it?
Blake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. That guy wrote Blank Check.
Blank Check is great. Love Blank Check. I mean, if you're
Everybody was
26,
like, hey.
27 years old out there, I'm sure you agree with me. You're in the same boat. We are
Elizabeth
Blank
Benji.
Check
Yeah.
fans.
For every because we whenever we do like a talk, somebody always brings like, have you read Save the Cat? Like Save the Cat's a great book. Is like that guy wrote Blank Check. Just remember that he wrote Blank Check.
That guy doesn't understand how the banking
I'm
system
not saying
works.
he's not, I'm not saying you can't make money following his
I don't know. I feel like
strategy.
there was a good couple years there where there was a lot of like like right now every young adult movie is somebody. It's all some sad ass apocalypse
it's
where
the
they're trying to
opposite of
save the
that.
future. When I was that age, every young kid movie was you got to own the Cubs, you got to run the Minnesota
Yeah.
Twins.
Yeah.
You know,
I like this
you
better,
got a
though.
blank
Well, no,
check.
but so
This is
no,
better.
This,
So here's
this
something-
stuff
here's something
sucks.
interesting.
That's
Yes,
boring.
this is-
I want the
this is-
fun
it's
baseball
right.
movies
I
again.
want it to be fun, but like the idea that
Well, but
you know, question your
here's
society.
why.
and be
But here's
better.
why. But here's why though. So I have a friend that took
Screw
like
that teaching lesson shit.
my friend took a class on how fiction reflects sort of the world around you,
Yeah.
right? And it's like there's sort of 4 genres where it's everything is really bad right now, and how do we respond to that?
Yeah.
We either need it's the present, future, and past, right? Past nostalgia. It's when you get stuff that's like nostalgic for the past type of
Yeah.
movies. You have stuff where it's like everything's bad right now, and we need something to fix this. Superhero movies and the whole era of
Yeah.
superheroes around that time, and then it's everything is going to shit. It's apocalypse porn. It's zombie movies and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then the 90s is the ultimate era of everything's great right now. So that's, oh,
Yeah.
wow, let's do Blank Check. Let's get
Yeah.
the fantasies of money and stuff like that. What was interesting
That's why
was,
our generation is a bunch of assholes. That's why the younger generation is probably going to be, for all the things we freak out about social networking and stuff, they're probably fine.
So what's interesting?
They're being taught to like help people, rather than you'll get a blank check and spend on water slides.
So what they're saying is kind of interesting right now is you kind of get a little bit of both. You get a lot of stuff happening at once, which is kind of rare. Which is you have superhero movies because everything's going to shit right now, and everything's going to shit in the future. So we have like apocalypse porn and the future dystopian sort of thing. You have kind of this weird mishmash of all of these, whereas sort of historically they kind of came in waves. You know, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, 90s is the ultimate like, hey, everything's cool. Like and what Space Jam? Yeah, Michael Jordan's gonna jam with. Anyway,
why are the 90s so popular right now? How did that happen?
Nostalgia.
It was 80s were popular 5-6 years ago. It's just like
I know. I feel like it
just
that
feels
wave
weird.
Just crested in the
I think
last 2 weeks.
Whenever those kids get to about our age, it becomes the popular thing to look back
because
to.
it's that same age group that now is in charge.
Because everything is shit now, and everything was great back then. So
because you were kids back then. You're remembering when it was great when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15 years from now, it'll be the 2010s.
Oh, boy.
I don't. What?
I don't know what that would
I don't
be.
even know what that would be.
Yeah.
The 2010s?
Who knows? Maybe they'll be talking about
What
our
would you be
stuff.
nostalgic for in the 2010s?
Video game
it was
high
the
school.
decade that Robin Williams died. Oh, no, hold on.
Oh, wow.
What else?
Bring
Damn.
down the
We found out the
Jesus
NSA's
Christ.
listening to everything.
yeah, that's right.
Boom.
Oh, that was ISIS? Oh, no,
ISIS,
that wasn't a good... No.
Drones.
Dro-
Drones out
Guys,
there
we're not
killing
nostalgic about like the
No, I
we're
know.
not nostalgic about like the hostage crisis of the 90s.
Okay, so what's the good stuff?
yeah, what's the good stuff?
What?
Where's the good stuff?
What?
Yo, we.
We.
Nintendo
Wii U.
You're nostalgic about the Wii
Ladies and
U.
gentlemen, the Super Smash Brothers.
Twitter.
You can be
whatever.
nostalgic for a thing that's
Dubstep.
still going to be there.
Dubstep.
Yeah.
Dubstep. I can't wait to be
Matt, we're
nostalgic
still waiting
about
for you to name
dubstep.
one good thing.
Wait, those are going to be things that 15 years from now people are going to look back and be like, oh man, the dubstep, that was crazy. People liked it.
No, but like
Daft
they're gonna
Punk.
look back at dubstep in the same way we look back at the Macarena and be like, "What were we thinking?"
You realize that like 15 years ago, people were back into disco like unironically too. It's like that
Disco,
that-
not
that's-
the mock, but like
Yeah,
dubstep
the new
is.
disco's popping
we
off
were
now.
nostalgic for the Macarena. That came back for a bit. People were excited by it.
No
I don't
way.
remember that
I don't
period.
remember that.
I must have
Macarena.
slept right through
I
that.
do want to point out.
You guys went to different parties.
I do want to point out the Macarena. The Macarena did
Clearly.
get so big that during recess, in my elementary
Yep.
school, there was one girl every day. She brought a boombox. She would set up her boombox. We went to Catholic school. Miss Brown, meanest lady you've ever met. She was strict. Great woman though, but God rest her soul. Terrifying woman.
That was like took 7 turns.
Sorry.
7 turns.
Terrifying.
Mean
Terrifying
person, great
woman.
person.
She's
She's
dead.
died.
Terrifying woman, great woman. But
Still
she
going.
would dance the Macarena every day during recess with that girl. And then
That was
like
the
by
thing.
the end of the recess, it would be like 50, 60 kids.
you know
They
what
would just dance the Macarena for 30 straight
Do you
minutes.
know what I remember? I
Loved it.
remember the moves of the Macarena. I remember the quarter turn you would do on the eye. I
Eye?
don't
Yeah.
remember how we ever stopped. Like, I don't remember
You don't.
what like it just did
It just
fade
kind of
out.
like
Did
it just
you
kind of
all
like fade
kind
out. It just kind of like fades out. You
It's
just kind of
like,
like stand there.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
And it feel good.
it felt good.
All right, and then you go get a pop. You know, you're like, all right, it's
No,
like-
I
don't
never got
remember
into
that
it. Like
part.
that thing, and Hanson was a big thing as a kid, and I never got into that
Hoodies.
stuff.
Hoodies are big. So I'm thinking about
Hoodies,
four things.
hoodies are big. Yeah,
Hoodies
Matt's
are
still
big.
trying to nail one
That's
big
gonna be a
thing.
thing. That's gonna be nobody's
can
gonna
you
wear
be
hoodies in 10 years and be like, who wore hoodies? Can't believe they wore hoodies.
Hoodies.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
know.
actually.
I see
No,
We have
hoodies.
3 people with hoodies right now.
I can see that.
Hoodies
It's like
are-
the most popular thing in our store.
I feel like hoodies never left though.
Hoodies left. Nobody's wearing hoodies in the 70s.
Hoodies.
Nobody's wearing hoodies in.
80, I feel like
late
hoodies were an 80s
all of
thing.
90s,
Yeah.
all of 2000s, all of 2010s.
Nah, not all in 90s. 90s was like.
But like
I'm
hoodies,
watching Friends. They don't wear hoodies on Friends.
Well,
I'm just
not on
saying.
Friends.
Yeah, but that's the most 90s looking thing. That's
You've been
straight
doing
90s.
the Friends watch too?
Oh,
Dude, me too.
Actually,
I got on
everybody
there.
does that.
Actually,
so
watch.
much.
Where are you guys at now? And everyone.
only
I feel
on
like
season 2.
I feel like everyone in America right now is going through Friends again. So I just
Actually
want to
watched
see where
all of
everybody's
Friends
at.
in a month. She watched all
Whoa.
of Friends in a month, and I was watching with her kind of, but I'm watching my own, so I'm on season 2, so I'm like rewatching every episode again.
Des, you are
a
so
good show.
against this. You are not happy.
Oh, Friends is great.
It's fun.
There's
Friends
a,
is-
you know what? There's a.
I watched the John Claude episode
those
last week.
people.
Great.
Those people on Friends are they're all incredibly talented. They're all ridiculously handsome.
They're
They're
great.
getting paid $1 million
I don't know.
bucks.
I've seen
I'm gonna
all
get
of
killed.
Friends. It was obviously a huge show. I'm a fan of sitcoms. There are more than a fair share of episodes of that show that are absolutely fantastic. But it's not my thing. Like the situation on that show is always these two date, then they don't date, then they date, then they don't date.
But that
and
time period. I'll be honest.
90s
it's not my
rewatching
thing.
it,
It's not my thing.
Rewatching it, it is straight up, and it's one of those things that maybe sitcoms always have that habit of like they're seen as popular, then there's a backlash as they get really popular for a long time. Even Frasier had a backlash when it was happening, and then as time goes on and they stay around, you're like, oh, that is the sitcom of that generation. To me, Friends is Frasier. Friends is as good as Cheers. Friends is right up there. Friends is like the '90s best
quintessential
possible sitcom.
Yeah.
And it
is a
so
distillation
well.
of
Did you
every
have you
90s thing.
incidentally
It holds up so well.
Incidentally,
It's so funny.
Did you see the finale of 2.5 Men?
I did.
No, I did
Oh,
not.
I saw the last
but
5
I've
minutes.
heard
Yeah.
amazing things about how this
It's
show
really
ends.
nuts.
It's the perfect way to end a show where nobody gave a shit about the show.
Okay.
It's really nuts.
Every single person who was involved just, that's a thing. It's like the most, I mean, you have to be Chuck
There's
Lorre to
so
be able
much.
to do that. Yeah,
I
it's just
don't-
so, I mean, did you hear how it
So really
ended?
quick, here's how it ends.
I don't
Yeah,
get like the whole show. They were just broke the fourth wall, right? And they were just like winking at the camera and just
Yeah,
talking
but
about
Lorre,
nothing.
the
and
show's
talking about
creator, is
Charlie.
in the final episode, winking
goes,
and nodding.
Yeah, it goes to like them talking about maybe Charlie Sheen's character's alive, and then it cuts to a body double of Charlie Sheen because they couldn't get him with his back turned to camera, walking to the front door, and it's like this laborious setup to get to his joke because they're like, "Hey, there's a helicopter over there with
a piano on
with
it.
a piano.
That's
Is
coming
that-
over this way."
Is that his piano? Why would they be delivering his piano unless he was alive?
groan.
Oh, like it's like this whole weird setup to then Charlie Sheen's body double going and like ringing the doorbell and sitting there, and then the piano falls on him. And
That's
then
not
the camera,
it. That's not it.
then the camera pulls back so you see the whole set.
Okay.
And then Chuck Lorre with
Is sitting there.
with the Lorre, director's chair,
Uh-huh.
turns around and goes winning.
And then piano drops
And
on
the piano
him.
drops on his head.
And then it ends.
Then
And that was it.
What?
Perfect ending,
I-
guys.
why-
it's great because they're like winning is just like such like a fuck you to Charlie Sheen, like, oh, we won, we could do this without you. But then, but it's funny because I'm self-deprecating because I dropped the piano on my
You know,
own
on
head.
my own
or I
head.
just like he was like, no, you're a fucking rich asshole who made a shitty show.
Yeah.
that
That
you
sounds like
ended
the
in worst
shittiest,
possible
worst
way.
fucking thing
It's
ever.
the most. And what's funny is like
Fuck all of that.
I respect
I'm
him.
sorry.
I like
Yeah.
Mom. I'm not even a hater of Big Bang Theory. I think it does what it does pretty well. It's not a machine. It's a machine that does its job. I'm not the biggest fan, but I've watched a lot of it. But even if I like his other stuff or like even his, I don't know much about him, but like that is the angriest, shittiest way to end
Right?
anything.
That's
like
Because there's a great article that was a
Just let it
reviewer.
go.
It's
Charlie-
okay, it's just kind of sad.
just
isn't
let it
It's
go.
sad.
Charlie Sheen was an asshole.
Wasn't
like,
that 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
ago now?
Yeah, it just felt like anybody who kept watching that show just must hate themselves.
Right?
They must just enjoy other people
no,
hating
but here's
themselves.
the thing. So there's a great article by a critic who was like, I watched every episode of this. Like
Yeah.
I never gave up on this show because I was just attracted to the show. I just watched it.
Yeah, just
I
having
didn't
people-
laugh once in its entire run. But here are my thoughts on it. He sort of distilled again.
Yeah.
I don't even know if the critic's a he or she, but like they distilled their whole sort of just talking about it, and their conclusion was it's like this is a show that was like just bad enough that critics just ignored it, and just like effervescent enough that you could just kind of like blank and tune in and just kind of see it.
I was like when the whole Charlie Sheen thing was going down, I was like fascinated. Like most of the time, I get fascinated by what's actually popular, and I went back and I was like, okay, I should try watching this show, and like it starts off fine.
Starts off fine, yeah.
Like, it's kind of crass and I think kind of the wrong way in the same way that like Big Bang
Like an
Theory
Odd
does
Couple.
it. Like sometimes it's just like sexist in the wrong way, but
Is there a right way to be sexist? Man?
yeah, that was a dumb thing to say. But it was just like, as in like it was crass, but that's what I meant. It was crass in a way that was just sexist rather than just crass.
Yeah.
But the actors are all good on it and they're pros and
Great sense of timing. Yeah.
great sense of timing and like it was pretty whatever, but it worked and you can see why it was popular. But man, it just went down after that. And like I started watching like the later seasons, and clearly as the Charlie Sheen thing happened, and then after that, it just became the most cynical show I've ever seen. It's
Really interesting.
it's just freaking hateful. Like I don't know, it's just like he should have gone out of it. Like it's a bad way to represent yourself. And then Lorre has those title cards at the end, and the last title card just goes into what they tried to pitch Charlie Sheen, and then Charlie Sheen pitched something else. And again, it just comes off as this
Who
extra
cares?
bitter note.
Wait,
It's
they
like-
even go into more? Like,
Yeah,
they try to get him
yeah,
for the
yeah,
show,
he has the
and then
last
here's
word.
this.
He has the last word.
Yeah,
on
he has the
everything.
postcard. Like he does a postcard that always has just like some random thought from him. Usually, sometimes it might have nothing. It's like I went to yesterday. I saw a flower. And flower is beautiful. Other times it'll be like a production design thing or something. And the title card for this episode was like talking about like we originally we wanted Charlie Sheen to actually be here and he was going to turn around and say this and we thought it was really funny. He didn't. He pitched us this idea and it's kind of like a dumb idea and he's like we also thought his idea was funny, but like in a way where he's just like it's funny because it's so
Yeah.
shitty. It's like good
Oh,
job. That's a
God.
great note to end it on.
Yeah.
Speaking of great
What a
notes
shame.
to end it on, I think we got to wrap things
Is that it?
up
What time
here.
is it? How long have we had?
It's time.
Yeah, we're about an
I keep
hour.
talking to you guys.
I know, bros.
It's a great
Don't
time.
go.
We don't hang
Don't
out.
goes, bros.
When are we going to talk about Vanity Fair? Just 2 seconds. What's Vanity Fair? What happened?
I was on a panel with Vanity Fair, some full screen stars, and George Stroumboulous. It was interesting. I was older than the two stars.
Who are these stars?
One was Megan Nicole, who was a musician,
Mhm.
and one was Ricky. Don't forget Dylan. I think last
Ricky
name.
Van Shelton.
Yeah, is the Second Life OTL guy. They're doing a
okay.
documentary. She's doing a musical feature.
Mhm.
It was an overall good time. Here's the one thing to take away from that. It was a fun panel. The write up of it, we tweeted out. You can find on the site, was interesting because they basically called me. They basically were like Freddie, who is the louder and more obnoxious of the two, basically, and in so many words.
Where they literally say obnoxious?
They say the more iconoclastic and brash, which is
Wow.
yeah.
Vanity Fair?
They mean it as a compliment. A lot of
Did
times
they?
people use words that they don't know what they mean. I don't know. I think I meant it as a compliment.
Wow. I don't know.
Iconoclastic?
Thanks
That's
a lot.
good.
Yeah, that's
Vanity
good.
Fair.
That's a good one.
Brash?
Either way.
Yeah, go either
All
way.
right.
Could go either way.
All right.
Hey, all right.
Hey, you made a strong presence one way or the other.
Hey, listen, people remembered me. But here's the thing I remember from the panel. They gave little bags of chips. And, okay, the little rosemary sort of potato chips. They...
Rosemary.
Like, it was one
good
of
to
those,
see.
it was one of those moments where you get so used to eating chips out of a bag. This is the dumbest story. You get so used to eating chips out of a bag, you're just like, all right, and I'm done with the chips. They stuffed this bag. It didn't look that big. It was about maybe 4 times as much chips as you would expect.
Not a lot of air ratio. You're
Not a
saying.
lot of air ratio, just stuffed
They
and
filled
like
the
really
bag.
tall. And I was like halfway through it, I'm like, I feel like I should be coming to the end. Oh my God, I still have most of this bag of chips. And I actually was kind of happy about that. That's my story from
On
the panel.
Freddie's incredible
great way to
chip
end it.
story, we should end the podcast. Thank you, Freddie.
Sometimes you get lucky with chips. Thank you very much, Benji Dolly, podcast producer, Alex Reeves, Point Blue Studios, Mixmaster Engineering.
We hope nobody gets any ideas to go out and rob any banks. We definitely don't condone
everything
those
that we've
actions.
said in this podcast is
Legal,
fictional.
legal stuff, legal,
All
legal, legal.
future podcasts will be
Legal,
fictional,
hashtag legal.
especially anything coming out of Matt's mouth. Nothing that ever actually happened in real life. Thank you very much. We'll see you
It
guys
all
next
happened.
week.